Some players were just born to get buckets. Jimmer Fredette was one of them.
Look at that. Fredette again nails the long three, and it's back for three and nails it. And the Knicks.
In college, he was pulling up from the low before it was cool. But when he got to the NBA, well, it all fell apart.
And every time I'd come over half court, he'd be like, I'm going to set you a screen. Just shoot it. Just shoot it.
Today, we break down one of the craziest basketball stories ever. Our story begins in Glens Falls, New York, where a young Jimmer Fredette was already playing like he had something to prove. According to his older brother, TJ, Jimmer was the most competitive 4-year-old you'd ever meet. By the time he was 5, he was draining deep threes and breaking ankles before most kids learned to tie their shoes.
Kind of was a love affair between basketball and myself, and wanted to continue to play.
It was incredible how much a little 5-year-old kid hated to lose and would do anything to win.
In high school, Jimmer became a scoring machine. He finished his career with over 2,400 points, which is ridiculous when you consider that's more than most teams put up in a season.
Once he started playing AAU ball, 9th, 10th grade, he would kill him. And I'm like, any kid that's playing that high above his level has got a shot.
And the crowd knows it. Here's where your crowd wants it to miss. He's ready. 2,000 points for Jimmer Fredette. He joins the league.
But despite the numbers, scouts weren't convinced. He wasn't the most athletic, he was a bit undersized for his position, and his defense, well, let's just say it wasn't his priority. He received 12 D1 offers, mostly from mid-major schools, and ultimately chose BYU, where things got crazy. Jimmer came into college with a chip on his shoulder. He worked relentlessly on his game, and by his sophomore year, he was averaging 16 points a game. But it wasn't until his junior season that people really started to take notice. He dropped 49 points on Arizona, then another 45 a few months later. But his senior year, that's when he became a full-blown
San Diego
legend.
State game. It really was the biggest game in college basketball to that point. ESPN was all over it, and it was just a huge game.
It's the hottest ticket in town.
This may be the biggest game these guys will ever see. Okay, there we go. This is what's going to happen tonight.
It's very, very exciting just to play in such a big game, one of the biggest games in the Mountain West Conference history.
One of the most famous games came against the undefeated San Diego State team led by none other than Kawhi Leonard. In front of a packed arena of 22,000 people, Jimmer put up 43 points, leading BYU to an upset victory. That was the moment Jimmermania officially took over.
Points for Jimmer Fredette.
And Jimmer comes out, has the 43, just a major game. So I remember after the game, I stand up on this bench, because they had these big benches. And I stand up on the bench, and I'm looking off, and there is just this avalanche of fans. LeBron James must be here or something. And I look more carefully, and then all of a sudden, that's when I see it. There is Jimmer, my little brother, being treated like a rock star.
He was pulling up from the parking lot, hitting step back, running full speed in transition, and just casually launching bombs from 30, 40 feet. This was before Steph Curry changed the game. Jimmer was doing it first. By the time March Madness rolled around, Jimmer was the most must-watch player in college basketball. He dropped 52 points in a tournament game, breaking Danny Ainge's BYU scoring record, and led the team to their first Sweet 16 appearance in 30 years. He was named National Player of the Year, and even NBA stars like Kevin Durant were calling him the best scorer on the planet.
Yeah, it was good. They said that I could really play. They think that I'm going to have a great career in this league.
With all the hype, Jimmer was drafted 10th overall in the 2011 draft by the Milwaukee Bucks, who immediately traded him to the Sacramento Kings. Fans were excited, jersey sales skyrocketed, and it looked like Jimmer was ready to take the league by storm. But he didn't. In college, Jimmer had unlimited freedom. He was the system. In the NBA, he was just another guy trying to find his role. He struggled to get his shot off against elite defenders, his lack of playmaking became a problem, and his defense, yeah, it was still bad. Despite a few flashes of brilliance, he just couldn't carve out a consistent role. Over the next few years, he bounced from team to team with stints in Chicago, New Orleans, and even the Knicks G League squad. The dream of being an NBA star was slipping away. Jimmer eventually made a bold move. He took his talents overseas to play for the Shanghai Sharks in China. And guess what? He went off. He averaged nearly 40 points a game, dropped a ridiculous 75-point game, and essentially became the Kobe Bryant of China. Fans adored him, and he had full control of the offense. And for the first time in years, he was having fun again. His dominance overseas actually earned him another NBA shot with the Phoenix Suns in 2019. But after just 6 games, it was clear. His game just didn't translate to the NBA. He went back to China, continued to dominate, and embraced his role as an international star. So what do we make of Jimmer Fredette's career? Was he a bust, a legend, a cautionary tale? In reality, he was all of the above. Jimmer was an elite college scorer who simply didn't have the right skill set to thrive in the NBA. But that doesn't mean he wasn't a great player. He found success in China, made millions doing what he loved, and left behind an unforgettable legacy. And hey, somebody's got to be the best player outside of the NBA, right? So that's the story of Jimmermania. What do you think? Was he ahead of his time? Did the NBA just not use him right? Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this breakdown. Hit that like button and subscribe for more basketball stories. Peace out.